And now, we've come to the portion of our show where we have to ask, what just happened? We can't believe it either, but let's take a look back at the insanity that was this week and look ahead to what will make us facepalm next week. This is What?
The three contestants this week. We've got Mona Shaikh, very funny comedian. We featured in LA Times, Newsweek, The Guardian. She's from LA area, really, where she's a comic out there. She's from Pakistan. She's been on before. She's broken barriers, the first South Asian female comedian doing a bunch of stuff, and it's great to see you back here in New York, my friend Mona.
Thank you for having me. This is so great. I'm operating on about 4 hours of sleep right now. I'm doing good.
Great. Well, on MS, a great deal, doing a great job on all about immigration issues. Great to see you.
Hey, good evening.
And we're waiting for the third person, who's a white
Mystery
guy
guest.
who's late.
The
Now
mys-
this
the
is how
mystery
this is
guest.
how things have changed.
I love
The
this
brown
so
people are on
much.
time, and the white guy's late.
It's about time you broke some stereotypes about white people.
Before we start, though, I got to play this. I play this at the top of the show. I love this. This is a true thing. This is real in New York, a petition, and Colbert talked about it. Let's play clip number 1 for them because I enjoyed this so much.
There is a petition currently circulating here in New York City to rename the stretch of Fifth Avenue between 56th and 57th. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm into that.
To make the honor complete, whenever a car tries to turn left, it will be blocked by Mitch McConnell. Most importantly, best of all, that tiny stretch of Fifth Avenue is home to Trump Tower. That's nice. That's nice. If the petition has already been signed by almost 300,000 people, and
Over 300,000 people. And they're not going to rename Fifth Avenue, but you may have seen, you're not from New York, but you've been here enough, and Raul knows this.
I'm from New York.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, but...
I just live in LA now.
All right, but they do any streets, and I wonder if they would give...
Dean, you know what? This is probably the happiest I've ever seen you.
I'm so thrilled by this.
There's pure joy in your face right now. Look how happy he is.
Because it's the ultimate troll of Donald Trump, the idea of renaming that street. Go
The
ahead.
moment I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, is this in retaliation to remember when Trump said that I can go on Fifth Avenue and shoot anyone and then I won't get arrested?
right.
And I was like, oh, I wonder if it's in retaliation to that. And that's perfect.
I can go on Barack Hussein Obama Boulevard anytime and shoot someone. You know, that would be so, it would bring me joy. So here was something, I've got to play this. And this is, I was wishing Dustin was here. He's still on his way. He is. He's stuck on the train. MTA, New York, I mean, it has become third world garbage. I don't know where you guys live in New York, but the
I'm
subway
from
by
third
us, I know.
world.
Hey, what's wrong with the third world?
Sorry, both of you. No,
It's
no
fine.
offense.
with the
You
third
live in
world?
third world. It's fine.
It's the fifth world.
By the
no
way,
offense
there's
to
no more third world.
It's, what is there?
Because, the first world is the developed nations of the West. The second world was all the...
Rally, and this is of course real. This is not any kind of joke. Protesters got up and were.
Has got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Get him out of here.
Wow.
It's just
Who does that?
Wow.
More piggy and stuff like that.
That's
So,
right.
like a child that he is, lashes out. But first, what's your just reaction to that before we get into the best part of it?
Can I just, if he went and twerked in a strip club in Atlanta, first of all, I'm not throwing my dollar bills at him. Fuck him. Smart suit, he's constantly hiding it behind.
It's a suit I think made in China. It's a
It's
Trump.
totally
Trump
made
suit.
in
It's some type of suit coat. But no, you know what is so obvious about this president? I mean, to me, it gets more obvious the longer he's there, is that this unself-aware sense of projection that he has. Like the insults he is always hurling at other people, every single one of them could really be
You
could
fat,
turn right
small-handed
back on him.
loser wearing a cheap suit. How
Right,
dare
he
you?
talks about
Your
people
fake
being
hair
shady
combed over.
and corrupt. I mean, and this is just another one. But
Well,
who does that?
Well,
I don't know.
first of all, that it's insane for a sitting president of the United States to say that kind of stuff. But here is a twist to the story. It's not as obvious. It was that he was he thought the fat guy was the protester, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't. That was his fan. The protesters were thin. So it turns out he was bad-mouthing one of his own protesters.
It's terrible.
And then here is an interview with that a guy named Frank Dawson about Trump calling him that. And this guy's reaction says so much about the Trump cult.
Wait, is this the protester?
Yeah, no. This is the Trump supporter who was a chunky guy, and Trump called fat. And then a reporter catches up to him and goes, hey, Trump called you fat. What's your reaction? And here's clip number 5. This is all real.
You may have noticed there's a moment everyone's talking about in that rally last night where the president addresses a protester. These things happen at the rallies. Protester was being dragged out. The president said, "Hey, you're overweight. You need to go home and exercise." Well, it turns out that wasn't a protester. It was a guy named Frank Dawson, 31 years in law enforcement in U.S. Navy, retired. And we have an exclusive interview. We talked to him afterwards. Here's what Frank Dawson said. Listen. Turns out he was talking to you.
He was, because he didn't see me rip the signs away from those three people that were sitting near us. And they were trying to cause a ruckus, and they jumped up and they started yelling something. I don't even care what they were yelling, but it wasn't going to happen beside me because I'm trying to listen to my president. But I think he thought I was part of it, but I wasn't. I was the good part of it.
What did he say to you?
He said, "Hey, that guy needs to lose a little weight." Everything's good. I love the guy. He's the best thing that ever happened in this country.
I'm sorry, was that Peter Griffin?
I don't know. Peter Griffin?
He sounded like Peter from Family Guy.
No, I know. That's funny. He said,
Didn't he sound like that?
but look, there's Trump saying to all people who are overweight, like, "You're fat, get out of here." That's what he's really. That's what his view is. Because he's
Fat shaming.
He's a fat shaming guy. He's done that before to Miss Universe or Miss USA, whatever. But the guy goes. He mocked this guy in front of thousands of people, even friends and family, and he defends him as the greatest guy.
Right, because they've all drank from the orange Kool-Aid.
It's not even orange Kool-Aid. It's crazy Kool-Aid. Look who's
crazy
here.
orange Kool-Aid.
Oh my goodness.
Dustin Chafin, put on your earphones. Let's see if everything's working before we make fun of you.
Yeah.
Dustin Chafin's got here. Headliner, you see him on
Oh,
HBO,
my
is
goodness.
Crashing, Showtime, and the white guy's late. Look at the brown people.
I love that.
We're all on time. This
Thank
is
you for
How
reverse.
you doing, Dustin?
Hi, Dustin. Nice
Hey,
to meet
how
you.
are you? The
Nice to
MTA, I
meet you.
tell you.
This is the future when white people
MTA.
become a minority. You'll be late
I'm
for
not
everything.
white.
Like,
Stop calling me white.
Well,
I'm more white
you're
than
Native American.
Choctaw. I'm not like Liz Warren. I'm the real deal. My grandfather spent his whole life on a reservation in Durant, Oklahoma.
So you're not white. You're
Choctaw
right.
Nation.
You look white.
I don't look white. Look at my cheekbones. I'm not white.
Guys, let's vote. Should we vote? Does it
This
look
is
white?
my oppression side.
This is
my.
Dean, I'm gonna
this
say
is
you're
my
the whitest guy
oppression.
here.
Actually,
right?
I was just
Exactly. You
thinking
look whiter than I do.
Stop that. I'm
Every time I see a Middle Eastern person, they give me a heads up, like a little nod. So they think
They think you're with the club?
Yes, absolutely.
I am an angry minority. I am Malcolm X in a polo shirt. I got like a lot of anger, but I'm still have some white privilege. I'm like, by any means possible, first a Frappuccino, and you make it, white devil. That's my.
Well, I love a Frappuccino. But,
I mean,
you know.
come on. I use my Apple Pay.
But how sad is it that everybody who just doesn't want to be white? That's how bad it is right now.
I was at Netroots
That's just how
Nation.
bad.
You Netroots at the
In
Progressive
South Asia,
Convention.
everybody wants to be white, but
They
that's
do?
fine. Yeah,
Is that true?
They bleach their skin. It's skin
yeah.
bleaching.
No,
is
literally want to be
Sammy
white.
They
Sosa
literally
stuff?
want to be
A lot
white.
of
Like
people
they
do
have,
that.
it's a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
industry.
In Dominican Republic, a lot of people do that. In some parts, yes, actually, for real, some parts of Africa.
I'm
it's
not doubting
and
you,
it's,
I'm just
it's
stunned.
dangerous too. It's actually not good for
Yeah.
you. It's very dangerous. People do that though.
Yeah, I mean, you could turn white and then show up to America. That's
Well,
the dangerous
now
part.
brown
Now
and
it's a
black
safety
is
issue.
right.
I
It's-
think.
this
I
is-
think people want to be white. Brown
So-
is
the new black.
safety issue. Yeah.
You missed our fun thing here with the Trump rally where the
Oh,
guy
yeah.
Trump called
Fat
the guy
guy?
fat. He called him fat and he called him names.
I didn't
and,
see the
and
guy. Is he
Then,
up there? Oh.
No, he
Okay.
called him names and then turned out the guy was a Trump supporter. He made a mistake.
Oh,
It was
okay.
the wrong guy.
Hilarious.
And the guy still loved him.
You know, it's like he's like the new Rickles. You know, people want to be made fun of by him. You know what I mean?
Well, that
like,
was
like I was
Here.
at a Rickles concert one time, and like 50 guys were heckling him because they wanted that rite of passage to say
Here's
they were
clip-
heckled by him.
Here's clip number 4.
Yeah.
Play it again for just
Okay.
a short one.
All right.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start
This is
exercising.
our president. This is our president. And look at him. That's the funniest part. You know what I mean? He's
Right.
so out of shape and ridiculously unhealthy.
He's the poster child for McDonald's.
What kind of comic
is.
would he be, Dustin? Like when you look at him, would he
Dice. He's the new Dice.
He would be Dice?
He's Dice Clay. He absolutely is Dice Clay. Not quite as cool, but you know, Dice wasn't that cool either. He was just a
Well,
whole
why?
act.
But
But
over
it-
time, Dice, I don't know him personally, but he seems to morph into a better
Actually,
person.
Dice got himself together more physically though.
Dice
think
looks
he is.
good. I've seen him.
he
I've
looks-
quite a
I
few
wouldn't,
times.
I wouldn't
He
say
looks physically,
good.
he
I
has
wouldn't
gotten
say
himself
good.
together-
I wouldn't say
together well.
good. He's a little banged up.
He's got a
still
30-year-old
Dice.
wife. He's doing
He
good.
lived a hard 80s. You know what I mean? The 80s were like that was some rock and roll living. So it caught up to him. a little
Remember
bit.
how big he was at the time? Like he was like the king of comedy at one point for a few years, and it's
Yeah.
like,
But he was the guy that would say something and people would protest, and
They would.
you know, Sinead O'Connor's freaking out,
yeah.
didn't want to do SNL. Like he was
remember
that
that.
controversial comic. Him, Sam Kinison. Like I'm not saying, I mean, obviously, Trump's not a comic, but I think he's kind of falling into that though. Like he knows that if he says something, the outrageousness of it will create this thing that he's getting off on.
And the media love, but the media also loves.
It's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
You constantly like throw these bombs and then it gets covered. Or sometimes I think he does it on Twitter just because he has nothing else to do, like run the nation. And so he throws out these wild statements and then it generates either a distraction or just pointless coverage.
And it just shows it, like, if you're exactly right, and it's always getting the coverage, but it's like, think of the opposite, like if it was a liberal candidate or somebody making fun of, vegan or something, like it would just be the opposite effect. It would damage them. They'd be out of the thing forever. Right. This guy has a story now. He's the guy that Trump made fun of. Like, he's gonna in certain bars, he's gonna get a free beer because in certain bars, NASCAR places, wherever that's popular that Trump, they love Trump, he's gonna get that free beer. Because he's the guy. Hey, I'm the fat guy.
Have you ever had, as a comic, have you ever said things that have caused like any kind of uproar or outrage?
Absolutely.
Yeah, your name,
you have?
right?
Yeah. I'm a comic. Like, hello.
Like, what have you done? Tell us something.
You're trying. Oh my God.
Is there anything that stands out in your mind that either was horribly unfair or it really exploded into a real problem for you?
I was on the Young Turks, and
With Cenk?
Cenk, I love Cenk and Anna. So I'm on, and it's my first time, and they give you like 10 stories to cover an hour before, and you have to come. You're literally in like grad school for like an hour.
Okay.
So then you show up and you're like, all right, I got some jokes, and then you're sitting there. It's not like Sirius XM. It's a little bit more reserved, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. Disclaimer, this has been done before, and people took a giant shit on me about this. So please don't come back and take another giant shit on me.
It's not like you're saying this again new.
Disclaimer.
You're saying this.
It's been done before.
It's been done before, and you got into. Let's see how we're gonna.
And they were covering the story about the first female president of Ethiopia, and I was like, that's incredible. I was like, America's in the dumps when Ethiopia is doing way better than us, and people lost their shit.
Why?
Because they were like, it's racist. How dare you? Because it's a black. And I was like, no. If it was Pakistan, I would say the
Pakistan
exact
had a female
same thing.
leader.
We had
that's right.
Hey, she got blown away.
Later when she ran.
Oh no,
when she came back.
That's too soon. That's too soon.
No,
They shot her in the head and then detonate 2 bombs with her just to make sure that the bitch is gone for real. But that was a little harsh, but it's fine. She's gone.
Did you not like her?
No,
okay.
I did not like her. There was a lot of. I lived in Pakistan at the time when she was in power, and there was a lot of corruption under her. But from the Western point of view, because she was a woman, she was Oxford educated. The perception from the outside was that she's a great leader and you have a female in power. But I grew up in Pakistan, and for me, like I lived there and I saw the level of corruption that her husband and her contributed. So no. So not a fan, but yeah, I got a lot of slack for it.
Have you ever gotten, Dustin, for your jokes? Have you ever had people like really get upset? I don't mean like a person.
Pretty much every other night.
Really?
Yeah. I had a big one, actually, a Native American joke. I was playing this. It was this high-end college gig where it was like a whole bunch of like kind of, affiliates from different, MIT and Harvard, and it was all African American kind of celebration kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so they had 4 comics. It was like 3 comics of African American descent, and then me. And then I go up, and like you said, they all think I'm white.
Sure.
And so, so I got on stage and I did this joke where I said, the Indians were enslaved, the Indians were enslaved, their land was stolen from them. At least black people got to travel, and that did not go so well. And I got booed like 3,000. This is a big auditorium. It's like thousands of boos. Not
Before you said it though, did you think this is going to do really well?
Well, the joke was doing. Yeah, I mean, okay.
I'm just trying to say,
it was killing elsewhere.
This joke has a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
So I've been doing it. Well, it was more than just that. There was a whole thing about how the Native Americans are cartoon characters. They're on football helmets, and we are. It's still even.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
the bigger picture.
It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. It wasn't just this bit. And then I ended up using the bit. I did the joke on television on Showtime, White Boys in the Hood, where it's all black audiences. And so I did that joke, and I got an applause break. So that was, it got booed, and then I got an applause break.
Though,
Interesting.
The worst I ever had was, I've had like 1 or 2 people walk out once. The worst that was on cable news. I was on Melissa Harris Perry show. Remember Melissa Harris Perry? Before Joy Reid. And then they showed pictures of Mitt Romney's family, and it was all these white people and one black baby they adopted, right? And I go, it looks like the Republican National Convention, right? Like one black stupid. And
That's perfect.
Right, so I thought it was
perfect
fine,
joke.
right?
It's the
Oh my
perfect
God.
joke.
That is an excellent observation.
But I was
Dean.
caught up in a storm because they were going after Melissa Harris Perry. They wanted her off there. So
yeah.
I just happened to be there when I said this, and I get all this race. They're writing articles on the right wing. It's like 5-6 years ago. I'm like, this is so I apologized to the baby. I'm like, I put an apology to the baby. I apologize, and it made it worse. So far I had to apologize because the Daily Beast were writing for her, like, you got to apologize. I'm like, for what? I don't even know what I said wrong. Statistically, it was right. And in fact, now the RNC, the Republican Party, is actually less diverse today than they were like 6 years ago. Now they have one black member of Congress, and he quit just like 2 weeks ago. He's like, Will Hurd's like, I'm done. I can't do this. The Black Republican Club meeting's just me. I have to bring the snacks and clean up. It's terrible in the house. So,
You're gonna get in trouble again.
have you ever gotten in trouble for anything you've said on TV?
I don't think so. I mean, I never had to apologize, but I mean, I don't do, you guys.
I know, but
mean,
you're on
that's
TV. You're
that's
talking
what-
about political
I know, but
issues that are hot button issues.
I know, but you guys are also, if you're a comedian, that's part of your job is to sort of
Yes.
like push the envelope.
Well, thank you for saying that. A lot of
and
people don't know that.
No, and I mean, I think people, even if they're a little scandalized, whatever, people want that. I mean, that's why do you go to a comedy club? You don't want to hear, like the same old, same old. So, I mean,
But that's
it's a
changing
different-
too for us. That's
it's-
for comedians. Like now
Yeah.
we have to like constantly think about editing ourselves, or like, oh my God, so somebody's gonna like take your joke and put it on, and people are gonna be outraged, and you have
Yeah.
to
Or pull it out of
apologize.
context, maybe.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dean. I don't apologize. It is once it comes
You're
out, it comes out.
the Pakistani Trump.
yeah.
I understand. You don't apologize. You say whatever you
Don't
want.
you dare! I have better hair.
It really-
Don't you dare! And I'm in shape.
That's
Don't
right.
It
you
really
dare.
depends. I won't apologize unless it depends how much you're paying me. Like if you're,
Well, look, there are limits to the comedy. You could.
It's
if
10
you do a
grand,
corporate,
I'll
if you do,
apologize.
right? If you do,
Yeah.
if you do a corporate
Yeah.
gig and they tell you can't say this
yeah,
certain
But
topics
for $20,
Sure,
forget
that
it. I'm not
understood.
apologizing.
Absolutely.
So all right,
I
let's
do it
take
for
a-
15. But it's cool.
Let's take a
Nice.
break. Today is National Joke Day, by the way.
Oh.
Today, National Tell a Joke Day. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping you guys can tell. It doesn't have to be from your. You can tell from your act, but I'm going to just tell a joke that I've always liked, which impacted my understanding of comedy from a long. It's a short joke, but we'll come back. Do you have any joke?
No.
Don't be not going to be any joke that you like in the world.
I have to Google something.
All right, if
I'll
you
be in the
don't-
audience. I'll be in the
You'll be
audience.
there. All right, be right back with National Tell a Joke Day, and then we'll talk
a
about
lot of
Greenland.
pressure.
It's trouble. Be right back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show right after this.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Voting is the most important civil right of our era because the right to vote preserves all other rights. It's not the Second Amendment. It's not guns. It's voting.
Sirius XM Progress. You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obidala.
And welcome back, Dean Obidala Show. We're live right here, Friday, August 16th, and craziness is going on in the commercials. What just happened?
Chaos.
Dustin and Raul, and I just ended my career off mic, but we're not going to.
That's pretty bad when you do it off mic.
So
wow,
it's National Tell a Joke Day. I'll tell a joke. I'll try not to ruin it. It's a quick joke, but it's the idea. I love the joke. It's from the Pink Panther, where Peter Sellers played Pink Panther. I'm not sure where in that series it was, but the joke was about Pink Panther comes up. I won't do his impression of the kid's voice. There's a guy standing there, and there's a dog sitting next to the guy. And Peter goes to the guy. He goes, "Does your dog bite?" Okay, this is my best impression of French. "Does your dog bite?" And the guy looks at him and goes, "No, my dog doesn't bite." Then he goes to pet the dog, and the dog bites him. And he goes, "I thought you said your dog doesn't bite." He goes, "That's not my dog." So, so that told me about comedy. It was misdirect.
Yeah.
Like the audience assumed, we all assumed it was his dog because the dog was there. And I'm like, and it stayed with me later for writing comedy. Like, oh, interesting. So,
wow.
Sorry. You guys have any National Tell a Joke Day?
I like the fact that it was a notch up from the knock knock joke. I like
It was a real joke. It was like, it just
I got a
reminded
knock
me.
knock joke. You ready? Knock knock.
Who's there?
Broken pencil.
Broken pencil who?
Never mind. It's pointless.
That's pretty good.
Wow. We're just raising the bar here, aren't we, tonight?
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's my time.
Raising the bar tonight.
What about you?
I'm
You have a
torn.
joke?
I'm torn. I had two jokes, and I don't know which one to do, but I'll
Do
do
both.
Do them both because I don't have a joke. So
Oh,
you tell
God.
your joke.
Do
Do
his
Raul's
time.
joke.
Do his time.
My joke is, what's one thing you never see a lot is female suicide bombers. Is because women are smart as shit. We know it's bad enough to be with one virgin. Why the hell are we going to be with 72 of them?
I love it. That's the winner.
That's very biased. I see this crowd in here.
Truth, though. It's a lot of truth in there.
Any more jokes?
The other one I had was, what they say, once you go black, you never go back. I say, once you go black, you black out. I'm sorry, that's a Bill Cosby joke.
Wrong. They didn't like that. That's the judges. That's our judges, Lauren and Matt.
The judging panel.
We're judging everything. All right, so let's talk about Donald Trump wants to buy Greenland. What? Anyone have an idea of what's going on with buying? Like, did you think he randomly saw a picture of it and go like, we should buy that, or did he actually think of oceanfront property? It's an island. It is the biggest island in the world, and it's like above the Arctic. It's actually in line with the Arctic Circle. It's actually higher, more north than people think. But
That's the whole thing, right? Didn't they switch names because the Vikings were attacking it? So Greenland switched names with Iceland, and Iceland became Greenland. So they'll
I heard
confuse
something
the
like
enemies.
that. So what do you think, Raul?
You know, I really thought that was a joke when I was first reading. It's just something from The Onion, but my theory is that there's some type of, we don't know it yet, that there's some type of random Fox News connection that maybe someone at an off time on Fox mentioned Greenland in a positive way, and that gave him the idea. Because who would even think of that, like buying a part of another nation? That's my only theory on why that happened.
And why not Norway? Why not like a really white country to help the demographic? Someone called in and said he should buy Mexico. And I'm like, imagine we made all Mexican citizens. The demographic change would happen tomorrow. It would be like,
He
done.
doesn't want Mexico.
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he understands what a timeshare is. I think he's getting confused. You know what I mean? Like he's trying.
I think he should buy Slovenia because that's where he bought his wife from.
Hey.
That's right.
There we
So might as well buy a place.
Nothing makes sense because then you know what happens is he says crazy things and then people on Fox News try to go like, well, he was not the first president to talk about it. It wasn't when Harry Truman talked about it. I'm sure there was a reasoned discussion about it right after World War II.
But Obama wanted to buy Greenland too.
Hillary's emails once reflected something about Greenland. She talked about the Greenland at something. All right, so let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to play our weekly game. Guess Who Said It? It'll be fun.
Pressure. There's a lot of pressure on this show.
Oh, you guys are going to be good. It'll be there's
I
three
won
of
last
you.
time, but I don't think it's going to happen again.
We're going to see what happens. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with Guess Who Said It right after this.
Dean Obidala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
Your entire week's exhausting news broken down in one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obidala.
And welcome back, Dean Obidala Show. We're live Friday, August 16th. In here, Dustin, Chafin, Raul, Reyes, Mona Shaikh. Now it's time for the game within the game within the game, the inception within the dream within the game.
It's time for America's newest game show sensation. Guess who's at it?
All right, it's a simple game, guys. I read you a quote from this week's news that Lauren and Matt, or maybe Lauren alone, put together. I thank them both for everything. I thank you all. Sorry, quote queen. Here we go. First one. The president's legacy will be forever marred by the fact that children were taken from their parents. That draconian policy that was so unnecessary. Was that George Conway, Geraldo Rivera, Shep Smith, or Chris Wallace?
Can you repeat it again?
Sure. The president's legacy. The password is Aristophanes. The president's legacy will be forever marred by the fact that children were taken from their parents. That draconian policy that was so unnecessary. George Conway, Geraldo Rivera, Shep Smith, Chris Wallace.
I'm going to go Geraldo Rivera, just like a
Shep Smith.
I'm going to go Shep Smith, too.
Wow. You're... Yes!
Really?
Wow. Returning champion. He's like the Jeopardy guy comes back. He won it last time. Here we go. This brings me joy. Here we go. Another one. Give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and who will not become a public charge. Was that Scrooge? Was it Ken Cuccinelli, Mitch McConnell, or Mike Pence?
Ken Cuccinelli.
Yeah.
Ken Cuccinelli.
That was all right. Yeah. We got that on. Our president wants to live in a fantasy world where only the way he perceives the world is the way it is, and he's also trying to convince us that this is the only world that exists. I'll reread that because I screwed it up. Our president wants to live in a fantasy world where only the way he perceives the world is the way it is. I don't know what that means, but sorry. And he's also trying to convince us that is the only world that exists. Was it Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, or Jimmy Fallon?
Sounds like a Kimmel thing.
Stephen Colbert.
Seth Meyers.
Raul Reyes!
Yeah!
You guys are awesome. All right, there's something wrong about that sentence. Something's missing. I didn't put it together. Don't look at the answers. Can you see it? Don't look. Here we go. Here we go. We have a president who tragically is a racist, is a xenophobe, and who's a religious bigot. But the idea that a member of the United States Congress cannot visit a nation, which, by the way, we support to the tune of billions and billions of dollars, is clearly an outrage. Kamala Harris, Julian Castro, Bernie Sanders, Beto O'Rourke.
Sounds like Harris. She's getting riled up. I like it.
He thinks Harris. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
I think I'm going to go with Harris, too.
Interesting.
It's obviously not.
You literally just shook your head off.
All three of you wrong. The House wins that one. We have a president who tragically is a racist, he's a xenophobe, who's a religious bigot, and this is the outrage. It was Bernie.
Bernie.
I didn't
the last quote
I didn't even
is
hear
something.
Bernie. When
I
you
didn't
bring
even
up
hear
Bernie.
Bernie, yeah.
He
Right.
doesn't exist in my world.
Yeah.
Well, you can hear this last word.
Yeah,
Where
redo on
his
that.
syntax at the end, where he's like, the idea that a member of the U.S. Congress cannot visit a nation.
Now I hear it.
We support
Now
the
I hear
WWE.
it.
Now that's an outrage.
There you go.
I'll take my check. I'm leaving. Send this back to the chef. I don't want the last one is a quote that we already played. It was that guy has a serious weight problem thing.
Oh,
So you guys tied.
All right.
Tied. I
It's
think
all right.
I think it was
That's
sort of a tie. All right, that's it.
What's the prize?
I know nothing.
Is it 4.1 million?
I know there's nothing. There's no. You had $4.1 million. You get to collect it from a Nazi. Good luck with that one. All right, what else have we got here? Okay, let's talk, because you are Native American, real
Yes.
Native American. Let's talk about something that came out.
So much so, I have a number. Like we have roll
Oh,
cards.
you do?
Yeah, I have a card that if I lived in Oklahoma, I could get free healthcare and all that. But then you have to live in Oklahoma. That's the downside.
Did you ever go on the reservation for healthcare and
I've-
stuff?
No, but you have to be enrolled. That's another thing too. People don't realize that Native Americans have numbers, much like the Jews had numbers. Like it's a weird thing. That's
It's not a
just
tattoo
it's-
system, though.
No, but it's we had our share of Holocaust type.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When you
Yeah.
say number, so you have
We have a
social,
card.
You have a social
It's like
security
a social.
number.
It's like a Native American. Yeah, that would make sense. Like just a roll.
Wow.
They call it a roll card.
Wow.
And you have to kind of you check. They check in with the number. You get a number, and then that's your number forever. And the government basically has you on file. So I have enough blood to have the number, and so that's how you tell if people are real Native Americans. So there's no DNA test. You either have the number or you don't. your grandfather half, like that kind of percentage, 1/16 or whatever. So that they have a system. Nobody brought that up with the whole Elizabeth Warren thing. It's like, you don't do a DNA test. You have a number. The government knows you're native or they don't. That's
she
it.
was responding to Trump, which was her mistake on that level. I mean, it seems like
he
years
slapped
ago
her around
now.
with that. It hurt her really bad because I think she's really smart and I like
Now
her.
but she's climbing at the polls now. So whatever it was before, and I don't think the Pocahontas thing's going to stick now that there's so many policies. But talking of that, she came out with a new policy involving Native Americans, which she declares herself the chief.
Which is amazing, actually. If anybody's going to do anything to help the Native people, I mean, I'm not going to hold it against her that she blew it with the DNA
It's great
thing.
that you're a Native American to talk about it because CNN, I'm not kidding, they had pundits on going, in her plan now, it's a story, it's a detailed plan with policy considerations that she actually worked with Deb Haaland, who's been on the show many times, who's a Native American member of Congress from New Mexico. And it would end the corruption that empowers giant corporate interests to desecrate Native American sacred sites. This, I'm reading some of the things, protecting historic monuments and public lands, taking steps to stop violence against Native people. And some really good stuff there. So, but the CNN pundits go, she should stay away from the whole Native American thing completely because that's her weakness. You're Native American. What do you think?
No, but they wouldn't say that about any other race. If somebody came out, we want to help African American communities in certain neighborhoods. They wouldn't say it about any other thing. But for some reason, she soiled herself with this. I mean, she's wanting to help. Some of the biggest things too is like them not being able to charge people that do crimes on the reservations and things like that. People that aren't natives. That's why there's women missing all the time.
That's what Deb Haaland talked about right on the show. She talked about that. We have missing women, and it seems nobody cares in America.
Oh. And they're Americans, the first Americans, and that's the
Are they
saddest part about the
abducted?
whole
What
thing.
happens?
It's women. People don't give a shit about women in this country, especially if they can get away with it. It's like they're coming in the reservations and kidnapping and doing God knows what.
That's 3 women die every single day at the hand of their husbands or boyfriends.
Exactly. We've
Every
talked about
single day.
it. So, Raul, just from a political point of view, what do you think? Their point was, I mean, this is great policy she's talking about. Their point is you're going to remind people of your whole DNA test and the Pocahontas thing by addressing Native American.
Who cares?
Do you think, I think it's actually smart, though, strategically, to just say, like, hey, this is a policy. She's not writing this policy going,
because those are the kind of people who, I mean, like you said, they wouldn't say that if you had any type of, say, gaffe or issue or anything in your past with African Americans or with Latinos, does that mean you never, ever come up with an idea that involves Latinos or the African American community? So no, and I think it's good in a sense for her just to get out in front of it and not constantly. I mean, it's been a few years now anyway to be reacting to those.
Well, she did her test in October. It seems like a few
years
ago. October, she did a DNA test. And doesn't seem like years ago. October
those things are
2018.
ridiculous,
so stupid
by the
to
way.
continue to react to it as though that's so damaging. It's damaging. I mean, I think at that time it seems so long ago because people were shocked that Trump was throwing out these insults. Now he does that with so many people. So I don't even think that stings that matters anymore. Maybe just in that bubble of cable news.
I think with Trump, you have to own it too. She should call herself Pocahontas. Like you have to own it.
Yes. Right.
Like she should show up in a full Pocahontas outfit.
That's how you take
and
the
a
power
feather,
away.
And a feather. She knows.
That's how you take the power away.
It's like you have
oh,
to
yeah,
own it.
totally.
You have to own it.
So, but now Trump at his rally 2 days ago talked about she's moving up in the polls, and he goes, "I'm going to come up with something new." He's actually telling, like he's thinking he shows his work on stage. Literally, this guy does. Like he said to the crowd, and he said to them, "I might try the Pocahontas thing again." Do you think going back to Pocahontas' point just seems old material, and like his red meat base is going to be like, you got to give us new racist stuff?
They don't care. Anything he says is off, out of line. They love it.
I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit and say I'm just gonna step aside a little bit. I feel like, look, I'm sure she was trying to relate to the Native Americans, and she was saying, hey, look, I have I've done DNA testing, I have some blah, but I'm sorry, white people need to stop doing this stuff where they're just like, I'm quarter point this too. You could just be an ally. You don't necessarily always have to come out and be like, I'm 1/10 this. You don't need to do that. You don't need to pretend to be something you're not, or maybe you are. God bless.
But there's a lot of mixed people that get generalized for being white, that have a culture that's not just white culture. And so that's why I said it to him. It's like, people that look, there's a lot of light-skinned people that do not look the race that they claim that they are.
That's right.
But they shouldn't just be,
just be an ally. Just be an ally.
I know, but you could still have that culture. You still want to represent your culture.
Sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
And the result is too, though. Here it comes. I'll be the Joy
'Cause
Behar
white
here.
people
and do,
suck, so
let me
you
do.
wanna-
Let me be
you
Joy
want-
Behar and do a joke for my act. You know what? That's a good point, Dustin. I was doing no, but the fact that I don't look Middle Eastern, I won't do the
Yeah.
joke. People have said horrible things to my face about my background, and anyone who doesn't look like
Yeah.
traditionally what Americans think you are. Well, they'll show you get the I get the backstage pass to racism and bigotry. They're like,
Sure.
oh, that's guy, and they'll say things, especially shortly after 9/11. Now it's less so, but
I look at it and they say it to my face.
they
don't
do.
care. Oh yeah.
What do people say to you?
I've had people. Oh, okay. So this is so about 6 years ago. I was at the Beverly Center in Los Angeles because that is where I live.
It's a big shopping mall.
It's a big shopping mall.
nice shopping mall.
I had a crazy white lady approach me and started calling me a terrorist, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Like
and
out
I
of the
was
blue,
like-
just literally?
out of the blue. She had been watching me and had been watching her. We were at the store together, and then she was like, "Your kind shouldn't be here." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Los Angeles.
I said, "We're in Beverly Hills. You know how many Persians are here? Like, what are you out of your mind?" And
They will kill us. What are
they
you
will kill-
doing? Stop
exactly.
doing that.
She physically attacked me.
What?
She physically attacked me. She had my head in a headlock and she yanked my neck so badly that she herniated a disc in my neck. And then over a period of 5 years, the herniation got so bad they had to cut me open and put a metal disc in my neck. And I'm not making this up. They dragged this hate crime on for like a year. We had the entire footage, and then they let this woman go.
What?
And I'm not joking. Their response was, "We didn't have," and I quote, "enough evidence to convict her." End quote. She was a rich white lady that just got off. I'm not joking.
Did you sue her civilly? I hope.
I did try to sue her civilly, but nobody would take my case.
I'll take it. I haven't been a
Yeah,
lawyer in a
let's-
while. But let's do this.
Let's get it back up. Let's
Raul's
get it going.
a lawyer. Let's
get
do
it
this.
going.
He's very
Fired up
knowledgeable.
now.
Reyes and
Let's do
Obidala
this.
is back
Let's make
together.
some more of
I
that
cannot
money.
believe you did not. You could not get a lawyer.
Could not get a lawyer to sue her civilly.
You had real
Madness.
damages though. You had the disc injury.
Severe.
You had to get lawsuit, and that's going to be ongoing.
Yeah.
Physical pain.
That's correct.
Perhaps loss of
Yeah, let's bring this
motion.
back up. Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to sue. So I thought it was
do
going to be a funny story. This was horrible.
This
Yeah.
was a horrible story.
This is-
Yes. Sorry.
Wow.
We have
Didn't mean
to
to
get-
be a Debbie Downer.
No,
there.
no. It's fine. But
And she
this
was
is,
like an old white lady. Like
She wasn't
rich?
older.
Like,
She was a rich. She's a rich woman.
Do you know where
like,
she
like
lives?
put her Gucci down and
I
like
do know
attacked
where
you?
she
Like,
lives. She
that's-
lives
I
in
don't-
she lives
I don't
in
even get
Beverly
it.
Hills.
Have you thought about any kind of terrorist attack against her house? Or no,
We're on the air.
don't do that. Not real terrorism.
This is where you're going to have to
Let's
do
talk-
another
let's talk-
apology.
On the air,
Oh, hang
Dean.
on,
Let's
sorry.
talk off the
We
air,
should
Dean.
Not a
record-
podcast.
We should record an apology and just play it. And, like, on
You
behalf
can't
of
edit it.
Dean Obidala and Sirius XM Radio, we apologize for the following the last statement that Dean said. Like, just cue the apology, Matt. I don't mean a real terrorist thing. I mean something like just throwing
Like
eggs in our
toilet
house or
paper?
something.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah,
can
like
do
something like that. Like
Toilet
that's Jersey terrorism.
Oh, like the poop in a bag on fire? That's always fun.
Exactly. And bring the doorbell, and they come down. Do you guys know that? Raul, did you grow up with that idea? What? In Jersey, like the night before Halloween, people would put dog poop in a bag and light it on
It's the
fire.
greatest thing in the
And
world.
just ring the bell.
It's the greatest thing in the
They
world.
did it in
It really
Pakistan?
is. It
No,
still holds
they're-
up.
Everybody does.
It
We're
still
just
holds up.
lighting human poop on fire. We're not waiting for dog poop. So
All right, let's.
Wait,
She
this
always-
show has,
she always
this show
takes
has
it a
sort
little
of
sadder.
devolved.
Because it's
Sorry.
real.
It's Friday,
it's real,
it's
though.
summer.
This is real
I
talk.
know it is. I know it is. I just.
that's how we keep it real in third world, baby.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break by going out to Colbert. Clip number 7, talking about Trump's visit to a plant this week. Here's clip number 7.
Trump was there to chop her out to Western Pennsylvania, where he visited a brand new cracker plant named for the chemical reaction of cracking gas molecules into the building blocks of plastic, although I'm not sure Trump knows that's what it means. Crackers, huh? Are we talking about the kind you put in the soup or the kind that shows up to my rallies? Which one? Just give me an idea of which.
Dean Obidala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dino Vidala.
And welcome back, Dino Vidala Show. We're here with Dustin Chafin, Raul Reyes, and Mona Shaikh, two comedians,
Shaikh,
and my
great
friend.
name, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Is that your
Thank
real
you.
name?
I just got it. Mona is an acquired
Shaikh.
name because I went to when I moved from Pakistan at 15. My legal name is Mavish, and
Mavish,
the kids in school used to call me my bitch, and I was like,
Oh.
I'm gonna change that right now, and I changed it to Mona. So
like
thanks to trauma,
Mona Shaikh. I like it.
I'm Mona Shaikh now.
Dustin, is that your real name?
Just, I don't know what he makes up a name like that. It's
I don't
Dustin
know. I
Chafin.
mean, maybe it's a whole character. You got a whole character going
It's
on.
Dustin Chafin. Really? I'm kind of a real guy. You try to make me
I'm
something
not
else.
saying.
I like Dustin Chafin.
Dustin
great
Chafin.
name. Like,
you don't wanna
It's,
mess with Dustin
It's
Chafin.
one F. It's Chafin. Yeah, it's my name. I don't know.
All right, last topic of the day. Raul, and that is your real name.
Yes.
I'm sort of paused there.
Nobody's making that name up either. Like it's
Actually, Dean,
nobody's changing
my
the
name
name.
is like
not in
super
this
common.
country.
If you grew up someplace where there's a lot of Mexicans, there are a million Raul Reyeses. I
Yeah.
swear,
That's
my
very
name
common.
is very common.
Yeah.
Obidala,
Changing
my
that.
my last name is derivative of Abdullah. Abdullah is the most common Muslim name in the
That's
world,
right.
but my name is Obidala.
Yeah.
But when I performed at Pakistani event, they would always like Abdullah. I'm like, no, Obidala.
Obidala, that's right.
They're like Abdullah. I'm like, no. Or Obaidallah was their other way of doing it, which is very nice. They're very nice people. I love the Pakistani people. I just can't eat the food. It's a whole different story. So,
Sorry.
All right, let's talk about Middle Eastern people here. The last topic of the day. So this week, Donald Trump went out of his way to push the Prime Minister of Israel to ban two members of Congress who happen to be brown and black and Muslim, which really plays well for the Trump base, and an immigrant as well. So you're really putting that snowball of what the white base that Trump doesn't like, that Trump, his base does not like either of them. So it's a no-brainer. But think about it for a second. The President of the United States called on a foreign country to ban two U.S. members of Congress not to come there. I mean, what? And the odd thing is Trump had just been send her back. Rashida Tlaib wants to go back, and don't let her
that's
in.
right.
So I mean, what kind of craziness
Incredible.
is this? You want them to send her back? Okay, I'll go back. You can't go back either. I don't speak white supremacy.
It's like,
what
it's
is
like
white
racist
supremacy?
purgatory.
We go to Greenland. We're going to buy Greenland. We'll put all the brown
We're
people
gonna put them all in Greenland.
Maybe that's his idea. That's where he's going to put us.
It's like Escape from New York. Like put all the criminals on an
That's what
island.
brown people don't do in the cold. Well, in the
No,
cold, so.
I'm not organic. I'm not genetically designed. I'm half
No,
Sicilian,
me neither.
half Palestinian. The winters are horrible. So Raul, let's have a serious day. What's your take of this craziness?
No, that's. I mean, it's absurd and ridiculous. But just as an American citizen, it's embarrassing because I mean, anytime you meet someone from a foreign country and they just bring up what's in the headlines and they're incredulous, like, how is this happening? And like, what is going on? And is this? I mean, these are the type of things that to us is just another day in this country in 2019.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous
Yeah.
joke, but internationally, I mean, it really makes the U.S. It makes us look so small. It makes our the office of the American presidency look pathetic. I mean, this is like just to me is embarrassing for the nation. And sometimes people talk about in this whole thing like who's winning or who comes out ahead. I feel like this is one of those things like everybody loses. It's Trump with this type of stuff. He just drags everybody down, including like the reputation of this country. I mean, it's sad. It's a mess.
Yeah, I'm not even embarrassed anymore. It's like this numb thing that I feel. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like when you see your like 10th penis on the subway. You're like, all right, there's that again. You know? It's
Now
like,
you know how I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much to the right here.
You know what I mean? You're just numb to it. You're like, oh, Trump said this again. You know? It's like it's just horrible.
Well, as a woman of color, what do you make of Trump continuing attacking women of color?
Look, he attacks women in general, but I just and women in general, that's his target.
Right.
Can we just ban Trump from America? Can we do that? Is that a possibility?
But this
this
fuels his fan base, though. That's the sad part about
yeah,
the whole thing.
everything is fueling the fan base,
Yeah.
right? They drink from the Kool-Aid, so whatever he says, they but it's always look. He hates these women.
He does.
He
hates smart
them.
women. He hates
That's
smart
true.
women.
He's
Very
hates smart-
intimidated.
Smart, brave women. He hates.
why he hated
especially
Hillary.
if you're a
That's why he
woman.
hated
Yeah.
Hillary.
Hates.
Do you think there's something like this? This is a joke from Colbert, but this is completely true. What Colbert's going to say, it's like a 15-second joke, is completely true about the time of the event. And it makes you wonder about Trump's mental... I don't want to be a psychologist here. We've done this before. My sister's a psychologist and analyze him. But I think he might be decaying objectively, like mentally. Here's clip number 9.
With the turnout at the event.
That's a lot of people back there for for like 11 o'clock speech.
It is a big crowd for an 11 o'clock speech, especially considering it was 2:40 p.m.
It really was. He showed the clock and he expanded the clock that was right on the screen. That really was. He's saying 11 a.m. It's 2:40 in the afternoon. And
has he been
nothing
checked for like a tumor or something?
I think cheeseburgers are decaying his brain.
He could have a tumor. He really
No, but
could.
you know what I think it is also. I mean, anyone, if you have like older people in your family, older generation, I think not so much like a mental decline, but I think it is true. I mean, for all of us, anyone, like I think as you get older, some of your traits become more pronounced. Like if you're a grumpy person when you're young, you're going to be a real grouch when the older you get. And I just think with Trump, we're seeing someone who's very vindictive and petty in his youth, in his prime, and the older he gets, it becomes more irrationally vindictive, more more mean-spirited. All those ugly traits that he has.
But he gets validation
they're
for it,
coming
right?
out in a stronger way.
Yeah, he gets validation from it.
And now they're being
by
in a
his
sense,
crazy
rewarded.
supporters who will just follow him down like the down the
by Republican lawmakers.
the trench.
I'm a huge ageist with this next election. I want somebody under 60. I don't even care who it is.
Just somebody. That's your thing.
Democrat under 60. That's all I care about. I really don't care. There's like 4 that are
You've just typed the
decent to
top
me.
3 people in the poll out because you've got Liz Warren, who plays much younger.
Okay,
She's
I
70.
like her a little more, but I still
she's
want somebody
70.
younger.
70?
She doesn't read 70
She's
at
a young
all.
70.
When I met her,
She's a young 70.
I interviewed her like a few months ago in person. She had so much. Oh, we have like a minute left. So tell people, where can people follow you guys? Dustin, go ahead first. Where can people
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Dustin Chafin and listen to my podcast. I'll leave you with this, available on iTunes and Spotify.
I'll leave you with this. Mona?
You can follow me at Mona's Comedy on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow my show, Minority Reports with a Z.com.
And Mr. Reyes?
Twitter, Raul A. Reyes, or Instagram at Raul A. Reyes 1.
And of course, I am Dean Obidala at Dean Obidala, Dean at deanofradio.com. Send me an email. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend. Tomorrow, I'll be on Joy Reid Show, so I hope you'll tune in there. Thanks for listening, everyone. And thank you guys for being here. And Lauren and Matt, thank you guys. Have a great weekend, everyone.